learnt about the cell, what it is. So we'll again, over here, we will just be having an overview. So cell is the most basic unit of the body, the structural and functional unit which makes up the body, right? And this has a jelly-like substance called cytoplasm, in which obviously all the organelles, all the parts of the cell are suspended. And in the center of the cytoplasm is the nucleus. Now, this nucleus controls all the activities of the cell. It is the governing center, it is a commanding center, it is the guiding center. And around this cell, there is a thin covering called cell membrane, which is a semi-permeable membrane, which allows a selective permeability, movement of particles within and outside. So the nucleus, it is an important part of the cell which controls its structure, reproduction, power, and activities. As we said, it guides everything, it controls everything. In the nucleus are genes which are made up of DNA. These genes are obviously they carry the hereditary traits, they carry the codings by which we get our traits from our parents, and the traits are passed on also through these genes. Everything, how we are made up, how things will work, how we look, how we feel, everything, all the codings are there in these genes. And through these genes only one cell reproduces into other cells. So this knowledge also comes out from there. This command, this guidance, everything comes out from these genes, which is within the nucleus. So these cells also, just like all organisms, they go through different stages of growth, they get destroyed, and new cells are also continuously formed. And similar kinds of multiple cells then join to form a tissue. So now, now there are different activities to be done in the human body, right? Um, Through some cells, they control, they command the various activities of various organs in the body. Some cells digest, some organs they're responsible for digesting and sending the nutrition to different parts of the body. Then some cells help us move, walk. Some cells help form the basis of our structure. So there are different cells of, you know, um, which are required for this specialized activity which different organs perform. So how do they do it then? So they form a specific group, cells with specific functions. They group together similar kind of cells and they form a tissue for a specific specialized function. Then it is just like the division of labor which we see in the normal scenario which we have in any work environment. If you go, there is division of labor, right? There is one department which is the finance department. There is one department which is the production department or operations department. There would be one department handling HR. There would be one department handling marketing. There would be one department handling admin, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, there is a CEO guiding ultimately, who gives the instructions which have to be followed. So, all these things, similarly, in our human body, also, these cells group up just like different departments and they do specialized functions. Yeah, so examples like the brain nerve cells, and these cells form the nervous system, the muscular tissue forms the muscles of the body. So these tissues then form organs and body systems as well. Yes. Now, just like we learnt in Tulyartha system, so our body, for ease of study also, on a broad level, we can divide the human body into three parts. One is the head, one is the trunk, one is the limbs. So the upper part of the head is the skull, in which the brain resides. The trunk is divided into two parts, that is the middle part, by a curtain of muscles, which is called the diaphragm. Yes, it also helps in the respiration process to inhale and exhale. This you learn in the respiratory system when you do your second semester. The upper part of the diaphragm is called chest. In the chest, there are two main organs, heart and lungs. And in the center lies the heart, from which the main artery and other blood vessels arise. Now, these circulate the blood to different parts of the body. The heart is like a pump. So, the lower left part of the heart lies slightly towards the left. It's not lightly, it is slightly. Um, and this, once we go to the circulatory system, we'll do it there. It has got an atrium and ventricle. So it has got the pump itself has four chambers. And in this part, which is slightly towards the left, is the left ventricle. So we feel the heartbeat on the left side of the region. And both the sides, around both the sides of the heart are the left and right lungs. And above and central to them is the air tube or windpipe. And behind the windpipe is the food pipe. Now below the diaphragm, we have the stomach, right? Okay, now I'll just take you over here. So can you see this? To give you a better view, so your diaphragm would be here. So this is your liver, and just above your liver, below the lungs is the diaphragm. Okay, above it here you see the, can you see the cursor? The arrow? Is it visible? Can somebody just reply once?
Yes, sir.
Visible.
Okay, okay, thank you. So here is the heart, as we saw. This is the right and left lung. Then here is your brain. This is your liver. So this is below the diaphragm now. On the right side, the liver. This is the gallbladder. Here comes your stomach. These are your kidneys. Here would be your spleen somewhere. In between, there would be your pancreas. Okay. And here are your intestines, the small intestine and the large intestine. So this is like a brief overview of your different systems and organs of the body. Like this would form the digestive system. Here, kidneys are part of your excretory system. This is a part of your respiratory system. Heart is part of your circulatory system. So these are different organs which are being shown here and their placement. So, so this is basically showing us, telling us about the position of these organs, which we've already seen right now. So, we will study about them as we go to the organ systems. Now, the length of the small intestine, which we just saw, is approximately 6 meters. In the abdomen, small intestine lies, SI small intestine, lies in a coiled form. At its lower end is the rectum of large intestine. This large intestine is approximately 1.5 meters long. On the back side of neck and trunk is the vertebral column, behind which is the spine, which is made up of the vertebra. In the neck, there are 7 vertebra. In the chest, there are 12 vertebra, and the lower portion has 5 vertebra. And below them at the back, anal canal is there. And there are a group of 5 vertebra called sacrum. So below the sacrum are small triangular vertebra which form the last part of the spine. Inside each vertebra is the oval-shaped cavity, is an oval-shaped cavity. From inside this, a rope-like spinal cord, which has nerves, emerges from the brain and goes to the bottom of the spine. You will learn about this in detail in the nervous system chapter, but for now, just understand that yes, the spinal cord contains various nerves, so which emerges from the brain and goes to the bottom of the spine. From both the sides of the spinal cord arise millions of nerves which reaches to different parts of the body, and they control various functions of the body. On the upper part of the trunk are two arms, and the lower part, two legs are joined. The whole body is covered by skin, which of course acts as a protective layer, and has various other functions also. Below the skin, there's a layer of fat or flesh, and below this is a third layer of fibrous tissue. It hides the muscles and blood vessels of the body. In between the muscles are the red-blue blood vessels, that is the arteries and veins. The veins, the blue vessels, takes the blood towards the heart and are called veins. The blood to various parts of the body is carried by the red vessels called arteries. This is from the heart then, oxygenated blood. And the veins carry deoxygenated blood. Nearby the muscles are the white, thin thread-like structures called nerves. These nerves carry impulses of touch, pain, etc. to the brain. And then accordingly, the brain responds and sends signals to the muscles as well. And some nerves produce contraction according to the message received by brain and spinal cord. For example, if the hand comes in contact with the hot object, the sense of heat and burning is known by the nerves, and then the orders come to remove the hand from the hot object, right? And then the muscles also help in this, of course, to remove your hand from the hot object. The bones lie in the deepest part of the body. Inside them is a hollow space, which is sponge-like material is filled, called bone marrow, from where the blood is formed. This you've already done in the blood chapter. Two or three bones and muscles, ligaments join to form body joints, for example, elbow joint, knee joint. So the human body, to carry out its function, is made up of different body systems. Each of them and its parts have a specific function. The human might be ignorant of their activity, what they're doing, but they are continuously working as a whole, coordinating amongst each other to ensure that every activity is going on smoothly within your body. Now, on observing these activities and arrangements of the body, we are often surprised. For example, the heart is made up of 350 grams muscles, circulates 5.5 liters of blood in the whole body in 1 minute only. This all is happening on its own. We are not even aware of it, but it is doing its work. In 24 hours, it pumps about 2,000 liters of blood. Similarly, both the kidneys of 300 grams filter about 1,700 liters of blood in 1 day and prepares 1 liter of urine. Now the human body is filled up of such amazing facts. So when many parts of the body join together to form a specific work, it is called a system. Different organs. For example, the mouth, salivary glands, stomach, intestine, pancreas, and liver, etc., together form the work of digestion. Hence, perform the work of digestion. Hence, they come under the digestive system. Similarly, other systems are there. Now, let's start with the first system, which is the circulatory system. Now, as described above, the system is made up of heart and blood vessels. The blood is spread in the whole body. If we measure the length of these vessels, it will be many thousands of kilometers. There's a whole cardiovascular system. So, with veins and arteries, so if we actually go to measure them, it will be many thousands of kilometers spread across your body. Now, the heart is made up of special muscles and are divided by a curtain into left and right chambers. These left and right chambers have no connection with each other, but both these parts are divided into upper and lower chambers by valves which open on one side only. They don't allow the blood to flow back once from one chamber, it has gone to the next chamber. The blood will not flow back because of these valves. They prevent that from happening. So just give you an idea over here. This is your heart. These are the four chambers: the right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. So these are the valves here. Once blood comes from here, for example, it goes from right atrium to right ventricle. It cannot go back to right atrium because the valves prevent them from doing so. Now, in the left chamber of the heart is the pure blood, which comes from the lungs, which is oxygenated, which is circulated in the whole body through arteries by the contraction of the left lower chamber called left ventricle. This chamber. In the right chamber comes the impure blood from the body or deoxygenated blood through the veins from all over the body in this chamber, the right atrium. This blood, by contraction of the right ventricle, is sent to lungs by the pulmonary arteries, whereby the process of respiration, oxygen is mixed in blood and carbon dioxide is removed. Thus, when the blood is purified, it is sent back to heart in the left upper chamber by the pulmonary veins. From here, by the left ventricle, it is circulated in the entire body. In this manner, the process of circulation goes on. At a normal pace, the heart pumps the blood at a beating rate of 70 to 75 beats per minute, and this continues. So this is your cardiovascular system or circulatory system. Now we move on to the respiratory system. Now in this system, the nose, air tube, and both the lungs are included. Now, along with them, the diaphragm, chest, and abdominal muscles also help in respiration. So, when we breathe in air and breathe out air, that whole process of air coming in and going out is called the respiratory process. When we intake air or when we inhale air, it is called inspiration, while when we exhale air, it is called expiration. Now, when flesh air gets filled in the lungs, then it comes in contact with flying blood capillaries, and during this process, the carbon dioxide, humidity, and vaporizing materials are removed, and oxygen is filled up in the blood cells. So, if we actually see, the air comes in through the nose, goes in through these tubes, again disperses into the left and right lungs, and the diaphragm is here, if you see, and the exchange of gases takes place in the lungs, which you will learn in detail in the respiratory system over here. So in an ordinary course, a healthy person inhales and exhales for 13 to 18 times in a minute. While in small children, this activity is very fast. It is not fact, it is fast. An infant breathes 40 times in a minute. The breathing rate also increases while running, doing work, and other activities because at this time the body needs excess oxygen and the breathing rate is increased thereby. So, body automatically, according to your activities, increases or decreases the rate of breathing. The breathing process also maintains the body temperature. Now, when the cells receive nutrition, oxygen, and all various metabolic activities take place, and in that, a lot of toxic elements are also produced, but they need to be removed from the body. Otherwise, it will become like poison in the body, making the blood acidic, and a lot of harmful substances within the body will start coming in. So, um, now this needs to be removed from the body. Otherwise, sooner or later, the organs will not be able to function. It will start disrupting the working of cells and body organs. and the person can die also if these toxins are not removed from the body. So now to ensure this, various body organs like kidneys, lungs, skin, liver, and large intestine, they work together. So this is your part of your excretory system, your kidneys, there's ureter, and there is a urinary bladder and the urinary hole from there urine finally passes. Now, both the kidneys in the body remove the harmful urea and uric acid from the blood into the urine. Excess water and some salts like potassium, etc., are also removed from the body with the help of filtration in the kidneys when they do that. Skin also removes some harmful substances and salt water through sweating. The liver releases some excretory substances through bile into the intestine, some toxic. It also does a lot of detoxification. The large intestine removes this material in the form of feces out of the body through the anal canal. Now, even the lungs also release carbon dioxide and some harmful substances like alcohol, ammonia, etc. to exhalation. In this manner, by the help of various organs, the harmful substances are excreted out from the body. Now we have the digestive system. Now what we eat is is obviously in a solid form, it's in a crude form. Now to be able to digest and to be sent into the blood, it needs to be broken down. It needs to be made into a fluidic form. And then, the nutrition then accordingly has to be taken in by the body and sent into the blood to be transported into various parts of the body so that the cells can ultimately utilize them. So the digestive system helps in doing so. In the digestive system, it starts from the mouth itself. You see, when you eat food, there are salivary glands which start breaking down of food starts from the mouth itself. When you chew and salivary glands, certain carbohydrates and all certain things the digestion process starts. We will do that in detail next time. But digestion process starts from the mouth itself, and then uh, the food travels via the esophagus into the stomach. So the duodenum, which is the first part of the small intestine, the pancreas, gallbladder, liver, small intestine, large intestine, all work towards the digestion of food. So it digests the food substance in the body into the form that the body can use for energy and growth. So when the food item is chewed by the teeth, then the saliva is mixed by the nearby salivary gland. So that is why digestion starts from the mouth itself. Saliva is an alkaline fluid which helps in the digestion of carbohydrates. So saliva changes the carbohydrates into sugar. It dilutes the food substances so that they easily reach the stomach. Now the stomach is a bag-like structure. When the food reaches the stomach, to start breaking them down, it starts secreting hydrochloric acid and enzymes, which mixes in the food. Then, by the movement of muscles in the stomach, the food is churned, and after 3 to 4 hours, through the end of the stomach, which is called the pylorus wall, it is sent into the duodenum, which is the first part of the small intestine. Now, maximum of your digestion and absorption of food takes place in the small intestine. As a smooth paste, the food is mixed with bile juice in the duodenum, received through the gallbladder. The bile juice and the duodenal juice finish the acidic nature of the food and turns it into alkaline. After this, the food reaches the small intestine. It also secretes an alkaline juice which mixes with the food. Here, the digested food particles are absorbed by the walls of the small intestine and the food progresses forward by the intestinal movements. The 7-meter long small intestine absorbs almost all the useful elements from the food in 5 to 7 hours. So, this is after we eat. So, within 5 to 7 hours. Now, after this, the digested food reaches the large intestine. Here, also, some salts and water are absorbed. In the large intestine, this activity goes on for up to 5 to 6 hours after this. During this period, the food is transformed into feces and removed from the body through motion. The whole process of digestion of food takes about 14 to 18 hours in the body. After the digestion of food, the body receives sugar, protein, fat, vitamins, minerals, salts, and water. Now, the nervous system. It is a very important system of the body. In this system, there are nerves arising from the spinal cord, which goes to the brain and spine. This system controls all the rest of the body systems. It controls them, it coordinates it along with the brain, various activities of the body. In this manner, it is called the master or controller of the whole body. The brain is the center of thought, intellect, analysis, knowledge, and experience, etc. The brain is also responsible for the knowledge of all senses like smell, touch, sight, vision, hearing through its group of nerves. As the electric wire carries the current from one place to another, so the nerves carry the messages or impulses to and fro, from the brain to the body and from the body to the brain. Nerves are spread all over the body. Some directly arise from the brain. These are called cranial nerves. These are 12 in number. Rest all the nerves arise from different parts of the spinal cord. Just give you an idea here. So, here you have the brain. This is the central nervous system, which contains of the brain and spinal cord. Then here you have various nerves which go to the different parts of the body. You will learn about this in detail in the third semester once you reach there. But right now, this is like an overview. So this is your nervous system here. Now, rest all the nerves arise from the spinal, different parts of the spinal cord. These are 31 pairs. The whole transmission in the whole body is via these nerves. Now, the brain has two broad divisions. First is the small brain and the other a big brain. The different parts of the big brain perform different kinds of work. For example, they are divided, they provide the knowledge of pain, touch, hot or cold, etc. That is mostly called cerebrum, the big brain. Some parts perform the task of analysis while some store the events as memory. The major part is governed from here. The left part of, so this big brain is divided into right and left hemisphere. The left part of the big brain controls the right half of the body, while the right half of it controls the left half of the body. Um, the smaller brain controls the different muscles of the body. It controls the movement of joints and all other body movements. So, I show it to you here. So, this is the bigger brain. This cerebellum is the small brain, which we were talking about. And this is the bigger brain, which is divided into two hemispheres, which controls various activities. It is divided into different lobes, etc., which you'll learn in detail later as you keep going on to different uh, semesters. So this is the small brain, this is the big brain. Now we have the muscular system. Now different types of muscles form this system. All kind of body movements are regulated by the influence of the nervous system on the muscles. If the nervous system does not send the messages to the muscles, the to and fro coordination is not there with the brain, the muscles will not be able to move because they won't get the instruction to move. So they are regulated by the influence of the nervous system. No, the human body has two kinds of muscles. This they've written as involuntary, but it is actually voluntary because the muscles which are regulated by one's will, they are voluntary muscles. For example, please correct it here. Note it down or please correct it if you have the PDF printout, the hard copy. For example, the muscles of arm, legs, tongue, etc. These are called voluntary muscles, not involuntary, because you're able to move them by your will. The muscles which are not under one's control, for example, muscles of heart, stomach, intestines, etc., these are called involuntary muscles. They work on their own. You don't need to guide them. You don't need to tell them. For example, if you tell the heart, please stop for 1 hour, you will no longer be there. You even give it an instruction to work later on. So you see, so they work on their own. The coordination is so smooth. They work round the clock to ensure your body is working alive and healthy. The muscles have the property of contraction and flexibility. They cover the bones of the body. They provide a shape and structure to the body. Voluntary muscles are attached to the bones via tendons. By the property of contractibility and expansibility of muscles, the movement of arms, legs, and neck are carried on. Now, the bony system, skeletal system. The bone system, you have approximately 206 bones in your body. Now, these bones join together to form a strong structure of human body. So, if you see, it provides, it protects the soft tissues and organs of the body, supports them, and makes the body mobile in a required manner, and also gives your body a structure. The hard bones move on the joints as a lever, due to which some specific activities of the body are conducted. Now, instead of this, some long bones like the hip bones, chest bone, or sternum, and the leg bones have in them a bone marrow where fresh blood is formed. In children, the bones are not completely developed, they keep developing as they grow older. Seeing the development of the bones, doctor also comes to know about the age of the patient. The bones are of multiple shapes and sizes, for example, long, cylindrical, flat, etc., depending on where they are. The upper ends of arms are joined to the shoulders. This is called humerus. Its upper end is attached to the shoulders. Now, if you see here, humerus, it is attached to the shoulders, and below it is attached to the elbows. Now, they're saying how the various bones are joined. In front of the shoulder joint, there is a collarbone, and the back, there is a triangular bone scapula. In the front, so you see there is a collarbone. Now, this scapula, this triangular thing, scapula, which is behind, actually, in the back side. And of course, the lower end of the humerus is joined to the elbow joint. Below this joint are two bones, radius and ulna, which form the forearm. Their lower ends are joined to the bones of the wrist joint, and from these, the three bones of the fingers are also joined. So, like you see, radius, ulna, then the wrist joint, and then the bones of the fingers, the metacarpal bones and the phalanges. The carpal bones are also here. Now, in the spine, the skull is joined to the bone of the neck, and the skull has many parts. For example, the cranial cavity, in which two deep orbits for eye, and on front lower side, the bone of the nose is clearly manifested. This it is skull is joined with the neck on the back. Below this is the upper jaw mandible and the lower jaw attached to the temporal bone of the skull on both sides. Here. In these jaws are 16 teeth fixed in bone-like sockets. Here, the teeth. The 7 pairs of ribs in the chest are attached to the sternum bone, and the back and at the back they attach to the vertebrae. The two lowermost ribs have their interior ends free. So here we have the sternum bone with the ribs, and the two lowermost have their ends free, if you see here. In the trunk, the pelvic bones are made up of two big bones joined together. At the back side, they are joined in sequence. On its both sides are two long bones called femur attached to the hip joints. Now, this makes the bone of the thigh femur. It's the longest bone in the body. Its lower end is joined to the knee and two lower bones, tibia and fibula. Their lower ends join to form the ankle joint bones. And the sole of the foot has several tarsal bones and 5 metatarsal bones. From these are attached the small bones of the toes. So if you actually see here, pelvic bones, then this is the femur, this is your knee, the patella covering on top, the kneecap, then tibia, fibula, metatarsal bones, phalanges of the foot, the toes. So this is your skeletal system. Now, every organism wishes to produce more of itself. So, to ensure that even the cell reproduces itself, because otherwise it is not like only one cell is there, and once it gets over, nothing else is left. No. So, to ensure continuity of life, continuity of work, and continuity of a species, reproduction is important. So, for that, we've got a reproductive system. So, and this reproductive system is made up of reproductive organs. This system is built in humans for reproduction and childbirth. In humans, you've got two sexes, two genders, males and females. So there are different types of reproductive organs in them, which are divided into two parts. One which can be seen internally, which are externally, and which are there inside, internally. There are external and internal reproductive organs. Now, the reproductive organs which are visible outside are called external reproductive organs. In males, these external organs are the penis and the scrotum, and in females, these are the vagina and the breasts. Now, the internal reproductive organs in females are which is there inside the body, are the uterus, ovaries, and oviducts, which are situated in the pelvic cavity. Similarly, the internal reproductive organs in males are the testes, sperms, ducts, sperms, and urethra. The ovary produces the ova egg and the testis produces the sperm. When the ova and sperm meet during conception, then the embryo is created. Now the ova and sperm have half chromosomes. Each have 23 chromosomes. So when the ova and sperm meet during conception, then complete 46 chromosomes are available. Now, the birth of the male and female child, now the gender of the child, whether it will be a male or a female, will depend on the sex chromosomes. Now, these sex chromosomes are of two types, X and Y. In the ova of females, there is a pair of XX chromosome. And in the sperm of the male, there is a pair of XY chromosome. At the time of conception or union, if the X chromosome of female joins with the X chromosome, which is there in the sperm of the male, then a female child is born. And if the X chromosome of females join with the Y chromosome of male, then a male child is born. In this manner, the birth of male and female child depends on the X and Y chromosome of the male only. The female has nothing to do with it because there is a pair of XX chromosome in the ova. Now we have the endocrine system along with the nervous system. This system also has a lot of influence in the body for various functions. Now, this system has various kinds of endocrine glands, for example, thyroid, pituitary, adrenal, etc. From these, a number of important and useful hormones are secreted, which are responsible for various activities and changes in the body. So, these hormones are like chemical messengers which contain information and instructions. So, when these chemical messengers are um, released from these glands, various activities in different parts of the body, they enable them to do that. Various activities of the body are regulated. Now, these endocrine glands uh, do not, which has such glands whose secretions are not through any other duct. They're ductless glands, basically, and they secrete directly into the blood the hormones, which reach the related organ or the target tissues. Now, these glands are situated in various parts of the body. The main endocrine glands are described below. Now, the pituitary gland. Now, some of these glands uh, secrete hormones which make the other, which give instructions to the other glands or to start to release their hormones, so that the various functions are done. So, pituitary gland secretes most of these hormones. These are called tropic or true hormones, which you will learn when you go to the endocrine system. There are local hormones also. All these you will learn in detail in the endocrine system chapter. Now, this gland is situated in the lower front part of the brain. From this, various types of hormones are secreted in the blood. These hormones, besides controlling the activities of the body, also control other endocrine glands. So, they secrete these kind of hormones. So, these hormones secreted from this pituitary gland are described below. Thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH. This hormone helps to control all the activities of the thyroid. For example, converting iodine into thyroid hormone, controlling its flow in blood. Adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH. This hormone controls the development of adrenal gland and its effect on various metabolic activities like growth of muscular glycogen, collection of fat, etc. Growth hormone. This hormone is responsible for the growth of various tissues of the body. By its secretion, the height of the child increases. So when this is an adequate amount at the time of puberty, when the height of the child increases. When it is secreted in less quantity, then the height remains short. But if it's secreted in excess quantity, the child can become a giant as well. So its secretion and adequate amount is important. Now, the follicle stimulating hormone, it plays an important role in the formation of ovarian follicle in the ova of females and also formation of sperms in males. Then luteinizing hormone, this is responsible for the formation of corpus luteus in females and also helps in the development of mammary glands in pregnant women. In males also, this kind of hormone has an effect on the testes and secretes a youth hormone called testosterone. Now, these hormones are secreted from the anterior part of the pituitary gland. Now, from the posterior part, there are these two hormones which are secreted. One is oxytocin. In females, this hormone increases the contractibility of the uterus muscles during delivery, especially. Uh, it also has its effect on the nearby cells of the milk channel in the mammary gland. Now, antidiuretic hormone ADH, by its effect, the quantity of urine is reduced. It helps in the absorption of water by the vessels in the kidneys. So, when ADH is less secreted, the absorption of water by the kidneys is reduced. So, there'll be less water, or the quantity of urine will become lesser. By this, the quantity of urine um, increases and the sugar is secreted in urine. Actually, the quantity of sugar increases. This is called diabetes insipidus. Hypersecretion of this hormone causes high blood pressure. So every hormone, if you see, has to be released in the right quantity. So otherwise, it will have different effects on if it is less or more. Accordingly, there will be different effects on the body, and the required body parts will not function properly. Now, the next is the thyroid gland. This gland is situated in the front, lower part of the neck. This gland has left and right two parts. Now, the thyroid gland secretes a hormone called thyroxine, which controls the metabolic activities of various tissues. Along with the growth hormone, this thyroxine helps in the development of the brain. Hyposecretion of the thyroxine hormone causes deformity in the shape of body parts, and its excess secretion causes hypothyroidism. So, your metabolic activities in the body, your metabolism rate will be affected if thyroxine hormone is secreted less or more. Hyposecretion makes you put on weight, hypothyroidism makes you lose weight, and they have got other effects on the body as well. Besides this, the growth of its size develops a disease named goiter, the growth of the thyroid. This is disease is due to the deficiency of iodine. Now, parathyroid glands. These glands are attached to the thyroid gland. They are the size of a pea and are 4 in number. From this, the parathormone hormone is secreted, which helps in the control of calcium and phosphorus circulation and their roles in metabolic activities. If this hormone is in excess, the bones become porous and weak, and they appear stone in kidneys. Uh, and the deficiency of parathormone, there is also calcium deficiency, leading to a disease named tetanus, in which calcium tablets are given. So these together, thyroid and parathyroid, control various metabolic activities in the body. Now, the adrenal gland. These glands are situated above each of the kidneys. Each gland has two parts, a cortex and medulla. From them, different kinds of hormones are secreted. From the cortex are secreted corticoids, that is carbohydrates and sex hormones, for example, cortisol and aldosterone. And the sex hormones are secreted. Various corticosteroids prevent the mineral salts from leaving the body, that is sodium, potassium, etc., and hence they increase the quantity of water in tissues. Some of them also increase the level of sugar in blood. Glucocorticoids are also used for carbohydrate metabolism in body. If they are excess number of steroids in body, then blood pressure rises, and by the damage of lymphatic tissue and the resistance of body towards infections decreases, because lymphatic system plays a big role in defense system of the body. Now, under the category of sex hormones, in males are androgens, and in females, estrogen lowers down. Their effect is similar to the hormones of testes and ovaries. By this deficiency, Addison disease, and by their excessive secretion, Cushing syndrome appears. From the medulla of adrenal, two important hormones, adrenaline and noradrenaline, are secreted. During any injury or shock, adrenaline is secreted in excess quantity to protect from damages. By this, the low blood pressure is raised. It also increases the heartbeat and breathing rate. It's like a stress hormone. Now, the thymus gland. This gland is placed above the heart and between the lungs. It increases in children up to 2 years, and after that, it contracts into a smaller size. And in an adult person, it is only present as remains or nervous tissue. Its structure is like a lymphatic gland. It produces antibodies and T lymphocytes. Like we've studied, the T lymphocytes, they arise from the bone marrow, and some of them reach the thymus and the leukocytes basically, and some of them become T lymphocytes once they reach the thymus and mature there. The pineal gland. This gland is of red color and has the shape of a nodule. It's situated behind the third ventricle of the brain. The functions of this gland are still unknown. It is not like very well known. What is its role as a gland? Now, the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system plays an important role in the protection of the body. The lymphatic system is composed of lymphatic fluid, lymphatic cells, lymphatic glands, and lymphatic nodes. The lymphatic fluid comes from the filtration through small blood vessels and it cannot return back. So, just like your circulatory system, there is a lymphatic system as well, which runs across your body. The lymphatic cells are spread like fine vessels in between the tissues and they collect fluid from the tissues and send it to the lymphatic vessels in the body. To prevent the lymph from flowing back into the backward direction, there are walls. So there are walls everywhere to prevent fluids once they go pass on from one place so that they don't go back. There are valves to prevent this in the circulatory system also and in the lymphatic system as well. The lymph nodes are of the size of the tip of a pin and or the size of an almond. The lymph vessel brings lymph to them. In these lymph nodes are white blood cells. Lymph nodes filter the bacteria and help to prevent many types of infections. The formation of white blood cells for the blood takes place at a lymph node. They also produce some antibodies for the protection of the body. If you remember lymphocyte, for example, so these white blood cells are formed at the lymph node. Now the spleen. Spleen is a large node of the lymphatic tissue. By its function, it is a part of the blood circulatory system. Spleen is of purple red color and is situated on the upper left corner of the abdomen. Inside the spleen, there is a dense fluid with many types of cells. Among them are phagocytes. Inside the spleen, when the red blood cells are broken down, these phagocytes eat them up. So we remember we had read in the blood chapter, the phagocytes eat up the so-called retired red blood cells which are not functioning properly or the dead ones which are not actually being of any use. These phagocytes eat them up and take them off the system. In spleen, fresh lymphocytes are formed which help to fight with various infections. So in malaria, typhoid fever, etc., the size of the spleen increases. It is also known that it produces some antibodies to fight with diseases. That is why we said that blood is not only formed in the bone marrow, it is formed various organs and contribute to the formation of blood. So here it is spleen is contributing through white blood cells. Now, it is also known that it produces some antibodies to fight with diseases. In some situations like hemolytic anemia and blood cancer, leukemia, it is removed by operations. So this is an overview of the various important organs of the body, and these are the various systems of the body. So if a question is asked in a viva or in the exam, so what are the various body systems? You can name these systems for now. These are the various body systems. So this was so with this we end the body system chapter. So this was a basic overview of this, and knowing this is very important because as